I haven't even done anything since our last video, so I guess this is our progress from last video. You might be wondering what I'm doing with all of these whips, crops, sticks, flag things. And I'll get to it in a minute, just be patient. What's up guys, I'm Lizzie, this is Stella. Happy 2025. What in the actual heck? How did that happen? So, anyways, what am I doing with all these whips, sticks, crops, flags? Stella, don't eat the hose, please. If you didn't already know by the title of this video, I want to go over the most important and necessary tools you need for training a horse. Let me just throw all of these to the side for now. Don't need them yet. Stella, wanna see that? We can go back to training with the flag while I talk. My hands are already cold. I've only been out here for like 10 minutes. I know from experience that it's very difficult to be a beginner in the equestrian world. And it's super easy for beginners to be scammed into thinking that they need gadgets and things that aren't actually necessary / helpful / good to use, because they see other people who may not know what they're doing, but since they own a horse, non-equestrian people think that that is the way to do it. So they see people using things like tie downs and lunging aids, and they go look up these tools online and read their purposes, and they go, well, I want to be able to do that with my horse, and that sounds helpful, so I should probably get that. But what beginners don't realize is that those tools are not necessary, and those aren't actually the best ways to get those kind of results, and they're kind of a marketing scam. They don't actually do what they're advertised to do, like making your horse round when you pull their head to their chest and stuff. Those things do not go hand in hand. A horse's head going down to their chest does not make them round, but I'll get to that in a second. So as a beginner, it can be kind of difficult to know what tools to get when you get your first horse and know what tools are best for what scenarios and stuff. So that's what I want to go over, and we can discuss the best tools you need for training a horse. You're always told that owning a horse is expensive, you need all kinds of things to raise them and to train them and to keep them inside and stuff. But it doesn't have to be that expensive. Equestrians make it more difficult than it has to be. We are scammed into buying the top quality equestrian brands that aren't actually as good as things that are not equestrian labeled. I have a whole video on winter equestrian gear that is not actually equestrian brand that works better than equestrian gear and is cheaper. So if you want to go watch that, I'll link that up here. Anyways, I digress. What are the only tools you need to train a horse? In my opinion, all you need is a rope halter, a 12-foot lead line, and a whip of some sort. Either a flag, a regular whip, a carrot stick, or a crop. My wrist strap broke on my crop, so even a crop can work as a whip. And I actually prefer to use my crop when I'm doing things like Liberty, because it's small and light and it's subtle and I like it. So these are your few options for whips. And in my opinion, this one, trash. Garbage, hate it, absolutely despise it. Why? Because, well, let me bring it back. It only has one purpose, because the string does not detach and it's very long, very whip-like, so you are going to end up using it as a whip instead of a tool. It's not great because you're going to create fear and you're gonna end up whipping your horse harder than you would like, and it's just scarier than it needs to be, and it's impractical. Cheap, but not worth it. Other option is a carrot stick. This is a Pirelli carrot stick, and it's a bit more expensive, but it's multi-purpose because you have the stick and then you also have the savvy string that can detach from the stick, and you can use this as a neck rein for Liberty riding and stuff. So it's better, but it's also kind of heavy, hard to control sometimes, and also a little bit too whip-like for my liking. But I do use it a lot. I would recommend it way more than the regular cheap whip. Then you have this cheap crop that was gifted to me a long time ago and has a broken wrist strap. Not all of them come like that. I've fixed this one like 5 times, but it still breaks. But it's because I use it a lot and I don't take care of it well. But that's besides the point. But it's obviously multi-purpose because you can use it on the ground and you can use it while you're riding. It's subtle, it's quiet, it's small, it's light, easy to use. Like I said, I like to use this for Liberty training, and yeah. It's good for smacking flies. I like this crop, but I would not recommend it as your only source of whip, stick, extension of the arm tool thing. And then we have this pocket flag, which my whole video last week was about this. So if you want to learn more about this flag, go and watch my last week's video. It's a little bit new to me, so I'm not going to rate it super high yet, but I've seen some really cool things done with it, and I like that it's not actually a whip. Your intention with using it is not going to try to smack the horse or anything. It's just supposed to grab your horse's attention and kind of surprise them when they are reaching the end of the line or kind of disrespecting you a little bit or something. It's just supposed to take them by surprise, and it's not supposed to harm them in any way. It's just great for communication and getting their focus, and yeah. So out of all the whips, I would recommend this one first because, well, it's probably just as cheap as your regular horse whip because it's only like $25, which is really good. And it's very convenient. You can fold it up nice and small, and like the name says, it's a pocket flag, so you can stick it in your pocket. Very nifty, very cute. It's Stella approved. Warwick Striller has these flags up on his website. You can go check them out there. I like supporting smaller companies, especially when I really appreciate and agree with their message. So highly recommend the pocket flag. It would be my #1 whip tool accessory for training a horse. But it's not as necessary as a halter and a lead line. Not all halters are made the same. So there are some that are made to have more pressure points with bigger knots on either sides of their face that are going to be more painful when you use pressure. So you're supposed to be able to use less pressure because it's going to be more painful, so they'll release faster. And then there's also other halters like the nylon flat halters that are purely just made for travel and tying because they are wide and they kind of teach the horse to pull through pressure because they create such a dull pressure point that they don't really feel it, and it's going to teach them bad manners to pull through pressure and stuff, and it's going to be really hard to train them well on the ground or even ride them in a flat halter. So highly recommend a rope halter. This one is a Pirelli halter and I really like it. It's really soft, it's really flexible, and it's not stiff or anything, so like my tail doesn't stick out weird or anything. Nice and pliable, doesn't create any weird pressure points or pain, and it's not too thin, so you're not breaking the horse's nose when you're pulling on it or anything. It doesn't have the weird aggressive knots on either sides of their nose. It's got little ones, but these aren't going to make them feel much. But there are some halters that are made with extra knots on the nose to help with creating more pain or pressure. Not my favorite. So yeah, you can find these kinds of halters, well, on the Pirelli website, I believe they still make them. This is an old one. I think we found this one on like eBay or Marketplace or something. So you can find them used and they'd be a little cheaper. But yeah, I definitely do not recommend trying to train your horse with a flat nylon halter. It's just going to create some bad habits. And the halters with the extra knots in the nose are not necessary. I believe Warwick Striller also has these kind of halters on his website, but I have not tried them myself, so I can't verify if they are as good as these. I'm sure they work great though because he works miracles with his. And then your lead line is also very important because there are some types of lead ropes that will give you rope burn more easily than other kinds. And I really don't recommend the flat lunging lines that are really long. They seem to knot more easily and tangle around your hand more easily. They're just harder to keep more organized, and they're purely just for holding a line. And I like to have a rope that I can use as a whip if I need to, and you just can't do that with a flat rope. So I really like this lead line. Again, this one is a Pirelli lead line. It's 12 foot, but you can find lead lines like this that are not Pirelli. Obviously you pay a lot more for the Pirelli brand. I believe this is a Vaquero lead line, and they're made so they're not supposed to tangle or knot easily. They're not going to give you rope burn as badly as some other brands. It also has a swivel buckle instead of just a normal clasp, which I really like because it just feels safer and it's quick release, and yeah. And that's basically it. Those are basically the only tools you need to train a horse. A halter, a lead rope, preferably like 12 feet long, and one of those kinds of whips. Don't matter. I even use this lead line to tie up into reins, so I can just use my halter and lead line as a bridle and rein set, and that way when I'm out on a ride and I have something bad happen or I want to get off and do some groundwork, I have my halter and my lead line with me, which is super convenient. So technically all you really need, besides the saddle, you don't even need one of those if you are okay with riding bareback, is halter, lead line, some sort of whip. And really, you don't even need a whip, because if you have a long enough lead line, you can use this as your whip. And despite popular belief, you don't need tie downs and lunging aids to help your horse become round or build a nice frame or whatever. It does the exact opposite actually, and I would recommend not using one and learn how to achieve roundness and proper frame and build proper top line without using force pressure, my opinion. And I believe that's all I got for you today. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give a big like and subscribe. You can go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I post new videos every single Sunday, so you can come back next week, and I'll see you guys next week Sunday. Bye!